Warning, this podcast may change the way you think about business, entrepreneurship, and money forever. The Conquistador Podcast was created for dreamers, entrepreneurs, and leaders who want to conquer their future. To be an epic entrepreneur, you must adopt the right mental paradigms as well as master the art of selling, marketing, and finance. Now, it's time to welcome two serial entrepreneurs, leaders, husbands, and fathers who are passionate about sharing the strategies that are helping them excel in life and in business. Here are Mauricio Garcia and Hubert Humphrey.
So how would you like to be able to achieve your 10-year goal in just 1 year? You think I'm exaggerating? What we're going to talk about today is going to be probably one of the principles that a lot of successful entrepreneurs use, and so that we can use it for ourselves. And I'm excited, obviously, to be able to talk to you about this subject with the one and only, my partner, my friend, my mentor, the great Hubert Humphrey. How are you today, Hubert?
I'm doing wonderful, Mauricio, and it's great to be with the great group of entrepreneurs that are tuning in out there to be able to improve their lives, and love to share with them. You know, it's
absolutely
my statement to them is that it's their turn. It's time for them to take it.
And I want to publicly thank you for, who would have known, who would have thought that, my mentor, because you were my mentor before we even met, that, I was going to sit here doing a podcast and sharing all this value. But life works in mysterious ways. I'm just I'm grateful for the value I've received and excited for what people that are going to be tuning in that podcast are going to receive as well, because it's changed my life. Maybe it's an exaggeration. People think when I make a statement like, how could you achieve your 10-year plan in 1 year? And maybe it is an exaggeration, but I know that if we look at what the even the billionaires on the list right now, what they do is they basically are able to do in 1 day what people do in a whole year. And so people may, I know you have a lot to say in that, because there's a lot of lessons we've gone over when that you say, how do you collapse time frames and compress activity, or I don't know if it's the other way around, but just elaborate on that. How can we achieve in 1 day what most people don't do in a whole month?
Well, you need to find a way to dream faster and perform faster in some kind of a system that can keep you from making as many mistakes and staying sidelined as long. Everything's got to be compressed. And I used a couple of real simple analogies over the years to teach people. One is if you were going to be mowing your lawn. Not too many people out mowing their lawns these days. But if you're cutting your grass, mowing your lawn to make it have a nice looking, front yard in the neighborhood. Let's say that it took you an hour to mow your lawn. That's 60 minutes. Well, if on day one, if you only mowed for 5 minutes, and day two you mowed for 5, and day 3 you mowed 5, and you spread that 60 minutes out over several days, by the time you got to the last day of doing your 5 minutes, all the grass had started growing back, and you never had a chance to see all the grass mowed at one time, which was the purpose of doing it to start with. It never did it. I even give you a very much more basic one. Brushing your teeth. Let's say it takes you 60 seconds to brush your teeth, and you got X number of teeth there. You brush every teeth. Well, say 60 seconds. What if you spent 2 seconds this morning on a couple of teeth? Tomorrow you'll brush a couple of teeth for 2 seconds. The third day, the fourth. You see, by the time you get all the teeth brushed over a week, you never had the benefit of brushing your teeth. You never had good dental hygiene. Your breath smelled good. So you got to compress. You got to do whatever. And even in our recruiting business, I tell our guys in our recruiting business, let's say it takes you X number of hours to recruit 12 people. Okay, but you only recruit one a month. And you spread it out, and by the time the 12th month comes, you recruit that other person. Well, the law of averages is going to take hold in there. X number of people are going to stick, X number of people are going to succeed, X number of people are going to fade away and go to the sideline. But what if you went and got all that time? Let's say it took you 20 hours to recruit 12 people. If you did all the 20 hours in 1 month, Now you got all 12 people in the first month. My gosh, look at the benefit. You got what I call dud power working for you. Even you can't tell the duds from the studs in the first month. So everybody's creating synergy for everybody, and you got something going. And that just gives you some pictures of why you want to collapse time frame.
And I think a lot, with the internet and obviously a lot of the videos and the content that is put out there by many clips of many of who today are considered the best business persons in the world. And I want to quote Elon Musk, and I don't know, it probably may not be word per word, but he did say in order to do something great, you've got to think of ways, at least in your mind, of how can you accomplish in 6 months what you would do in 10 years. That's very hard to fit in your mind. Like what do you mean? Like how can you even? I guess in your mind, you always say in your mind you could fly. In your mind you could do so many different things, and just think about possibility. Thinking, and that's kind of a way that some of these people, and I've seen use some of these things, is how do you compress time. I have a lot of stories that I can talk to that of applied that principle to be able to do. Let me just say it, because when I was first in the business, I would do like one-on-one financial consultations, and that's fine. I mean, I still do them today, but when I got into speaking on stages and I was able to now speak to 30, 40 people at the same time for 3 hours, well, that was my whole month's work in one morning. That's how you accomplish 30 days in one morning. If you think about, if you multiply 3 hours for my session per person in that room, and it was a kind of a way to compress. I mean, it's just an example, but you probably have even deeper analogies that we can use that is practical advice for achieving more in a short period of time.
Well, there's two or three different ways that I could approach that. One is I call it magic of compound time borrowing is what you're doing, and dream borrowing. If you've got if I recruit you, Mauricio, and you got 5 hours a week that you can put into something part-time business, and I help you with our system recruit 3 people, and they each have 5 hours a week, and you get to override them. All right, so all of a sudden now that's 20 hours a week you've got, and if each one of those 3 each recruit 3 people who have five, now you got 9 times 5, that's 45, and the 20, that's 65 hours. So you all of a sudden, a guy that only had 5 hours, you got 60. You're borrowing time and you're leveraging time of others, and that's a major way of doing it. Another thing is that it's what you do with your time. We all obviously got the same amount of time. It's like Elon Musk says, it's what you do with it here. And we created a concept called the speed calendar. And did this many, many years ago, taught all of our basic guys in the very beginning that they could don't just look at a calendar that says Monday through Saturday, we'll say, and let's just say you're taking Sunday off, and say it's a Sabbath day, or somebody may have a different Sabbath day, so you can insert your seventh day someplace else. But let's say Monday through Saturday or most people just work maybe Monday through Friday, but if you got Monday through Saturday, if you're a real entrepreneur, you can even work. But here, what I did is I went and broke every one of the days down into 3 mini days. It was day 1 was 7 a.m. to 12 noon. Day 2 was 12:01 to 6 p.m. And 6 p.m. to midnight was day 3. Now, I even have a day 4, but I don't want to tell everybody and scare them out there, because sometimes people like me and you can be working long into the night sometimes because we love it, and there's so much, the moment demands it. But if you go out there and have 3 mini days times 6, you got 18 days instead of 7 days or 6 days, and things like that. And another thing about it is that sometimes if something does, if you got one day and something goes wrong in the morning, well, it screws up your whole day. Everything doesn't work out like you want it to, and you just sort of ruin the whole day. Well, if something don't work out so good in mini day 1 from 7 to 12, well, gee, you flush it, you start over 12:01, you got a nice new second day and a third day. So anyway, it's just a lot of things you can do there. And then the last piece that I'll tell people is is I like the concept of like what I call 90-day Madman Cycles, where I found out years ago that.
Let me just say this. Sorry for interrupting you. Just that in the speed calendar, before we move on to the 90-day Madman Cycle, because it's obviously it goes with the concept, but I wanted to just how do you set that up? And like the way that you operate right now, do you literally just try to morning, midday, and afternoon, and try to condense in one day? Like look at, like right now, everybody can basically write down on a piece of paper the activities that they do in the whole day, or maybe even in the whole week. And so you're saying is try to bring all that activity and try to condense it down in a mini day, and then try to do that same thing in the second part of the not the second part of the mini day, but the second mini day of the day. And so how do you can you elaborate a little bit more, like how to do that? Or because I guess everybody understands the concept to be able doing more.
Well, there's a different ways you can go about it. Let me take you back to the day that I actually started this concept. I had Chip Taylor, one of my first recruits when I ever got in financial services. This was in January 1978, way back when we started, and he and I were going to try to really get this thing going. I was training him, he was under me, so we were going to kind of be like I was his tag team. I wanted to kind of be his coach and partner with him, and we're going to go out and do something we'd never done before. Because I was just new, he was new. We were going to do something great. We knew that we had to do something different than what we've been doing in our life. We had to do that. So I came up with this speed calendar. We were sitting at a Pizza Hut. Came in there about 10 o'clock in the morning in Milledgeville, Georgia. We had left Macon, Georgia, went to Milledgeville, Georgia, going out to try to see a couple of people out there. And we sit there the whole day, went through 2 or 3 shifts of people at the Pizza Hut, sitting inside there eating. I think we ate something one time. But what we did, we made our prospect list. And we had people, this was out of necessity. This is where this came from. On our prospect list that we mutually had, we had put hundreds of names down there. Some of these people worked jobs from 8 to like 9 to 5. A whole bunch of people worked places where there was shift work. They worked second shift from about 3 or 4 o'clock till about 11 or 12 o'clock at night. Then there were people that worked the midnight shift. They worked from midnight or whatever till 8 in the morning. So if we were going to contact them, we had to put them in different blocks of time because they had different mornings. A guy working at midnight till 8 o'clock, he's going to go home and go to bed. His morning is going to be that afternoon, 2 or 3 hours before he goes to work again. The guy that's going to work the day shift from in his job from 9 to 5, he's going to have some time in the evening. The guy that's working the afternoon shift, his time is you see him in the morning because he's going to be getting ready to go to work. So we knew that we had to be we had organized and put efforts that we needed to in the right time slots. And how you set this up, even if you're not doing something like what I just described, every day there's X amount that success demands that you have to do toward hitting your big goal in life. Well, whatever those things are, you need to take them and do them on day 1, do them on mini day 2, do them in mini day 3. Instead of spreading them out over 3 long days, put them through 3 mini days. You just get more done that way. The faster you can take the repetitions that success is going to demand that you do, the faster you can get those repetitions in.
Yeah, I think it's also important to say that nowadays is also with technology, right? With all these different tools that we have, is just pretty much look at with the intention of seeing how can we achieve. At least let's begin with how can we achieve in one day, right? What we typically do in a week. It might be a little hard, but I think it's like a skill. This is a skill that you get better at over time. We may not be able to.
Let me read this little heading that we have on the speed calendar in our leadership format system manual. It talks about it actually does it paraphrases a quote from the scripture in Psalms. it says, for 1,000 years on earth is but a day in the sight of the Lord. Well, now, we're not going to be near as good as the Lord. Not in this earth life anyway. But a day for him is 1,000 years. Now, you talk about collapsing time frames, compressing activity. He's doing 1,000 years worth of stuff in his version of a day. Now, we can't do that, but we can do, like we said earlier there, whatever you were going to do in the next 10 years, do it in the next year. Whatever you're going to do in the next year, let's do it in the next 90 days. Whatever you're going to do in the next 90 days, let's do it in the next month. Whatever you're going to do in the next month, let's do it in the next week. Whatever you're going to do in the next week, let's do it in the next day. Whatever you're going to do in the next day, let's do it right now, in a mini day. I mean, that's the kind of thinking that it hurries you along. It speeds you up. That's
what you're competing with. And the other entrepreneurs who are going to dominate, they're using these things. These are the things that they have to be using. Otherwise, you can't. How can you compete? How could you really build and do anything? So, we operate in our business on three kind of speeds. We do system speed, which really helps you go faster. Dream speed, meaning you're going to go no faster than the speed of your dreams. And then number three is web speed, which is what you're talking about. All these tools out here that we've got, and you just gotta master all of the stuff today. If you don't, if you don't reinvent yourself with technology along the way, or hire somebody to do it, to spend money on doing that. I just wanted to hear it obviously from you, and I don't see many Forbes list people following the 4-day week. There's a lot of crazy things out there about the 4-day week or 4-hour week or something like that, where you're just like, it's just about relaxing, and it's just about just about enjoying life, and that's how you do business by working.
Well, that's just the slave masters letting the slaves have a little more rest time.
All right. Well, now the 90-day Madman Cycle, to wrap it up. What did you mean by that, and where did that name came from? The 90-day Madman Cycle.
Well, that means kind of what we've been talking about. You got this dream.
Okay.
You've sold out to it, and you're not mad, or you're not mad at anybody, and you're not going crazy. But it's this: you're putting your head down and you're charging. See, I learned a long time ago that people can do anything that they can do anything almost for 90 days. Trying to get somebody to think about doing something for a year, they've never done it before, that's kind of hard. But they can think about 90 days. And so 90 days is, look at it like this. We put three 90-day cycles together. Excuse me, 4. The whole year. From January, we'll say, of course you can start anytime you want to and do 90 days, but if you started in January, February, March, that's your first 90 days. Second 90 days would be April, May, June. Third 90 days would be the third quarter, and then the fourth quarter. And what I do is I link them together like links on a chain concurrently. When you're ending one 90-day Madman Cycle, it serves two purposes. It closes out that cycle, but it also is the momentum that starts the next cycle. You don't have a cycle and then take a break. Mm-hmm. You keep the momentum going.
That's a good point.
It's just phases of your business that you're doing. And if you keep compressing and doing what you got to do in tighter time frames, it's just another way of saying it. And even for newer people, we take the 90 days and we'll break it down to like 3 or 4 day blitzes, 30-day charges, and all of that equals a 90-day Madman Cycle. Then you link them up. My whole business career for the last 40 years has just been literally 4 times 40, what is that? That's 160. I'm the product of 160 90-day Madman Cycles. It's what right here today. I live my life focused like that, and it just makes one, it's fun, it's exciting. You achieve so much more, and the more success you have, the more fun you have, and the more you want to keep doing it. You
mentioned the word momentum. I wonder if, by staying disciplined and understanding this principle of the 90-day Madman Cycle, if it speeds up the possibility of catching momentum, of getting momentum. I know listening to you and other successful entrepreneurs, they say, getting momentum sometimes takes years. It's not easy to get that momentum. And so obviously you don't want to stop. Once you get that, you want to really leverage it and keep going. But does it make it more probable? Is it easier to get momentum by doing these 90-day Madman cycles? I say common sense tells me yes, but is there, just to hear from you? Or if it's something, or momentum is something that you can't really pinpoint at the time, you just have to act aggressively, and have these speed calendars, and have this philosophy of the 90-day Madman cycle, and eventually you'll get momentum. Maybe I'm getting up to a different subject, but momentum thing is probably something that is misunderstood.
No, you're giving the reason why we talk about these things about collapsing time frames and speed calendars and 90-day Madman cycles and all these things. It is to create and maintain momentum in your life, because if you're stationary, inertia, you're not going anywhere.
Correct.
If you can't break the gravitational pull of Earth, your rocket ship will never achieve an orbit or go to the moon. You've got to break that gravitational pull. You've got to get momentum on your side, and you do that by how you put your head down. And even when you don't feel like it, even when you're discouraged, you're depressed or distracted, the one thing you can control is just I don't feel like it, but I'm gonna put my head down and do something today. Guess what? Your attitude will start to change. Momentum gets on your side, and your emotional and momentum comes, and that just fuels this other. So it's a way of maintaining, of starting momentum, and then maintaining momentum, and keep. We talk about time and consistency. You can't be consistent if you're starting and stopping and starting and stopping. So my just to summarize my part is if people would stop stopping and quit quitting and start starting. Doing things like this, they'll get to where they want to be.
Excellent, Hubert. Well, that's great. Let me tell our people here, for those that are watching us live on YouTube as well, is that to quit quitting and stop stopping and understand these principles of 90-day Madman cycles, momentum, speed calendars, and just basically how to be able to do more in a shorter period of time. Make sure that you register, sign up for our next Conquer event. That's what we're naming, Conquer, because we are basically going to teach the principles that can help us all conquer it all. So you want to learn more about it, it is conquerevent.com. It is a virtual event coming up March 26 and 27. It's a 2-day event. I also want to thank our sponsor, Hegemon Group International. This podcast is made possible thanks to their sponsorship. And if you're looking to go from where you are now financially to where you have always wanted to go, well, you need the right vehicle. And there is this window of opportunity right now to take advantage of the current state of the economy. Everything that is happening is actually make this opportunity even that much greater. So go to hgiopportunity.com, hgiopportunity.com, and learn how they and their vehicle can take you from where you are now and where you want to go. With that being said, Hubert, anything else you want to add to close it up today?
Well, I just want to tell them, hey, go out and compress and explode, simplify and multiply, and they'll have great success. Good to be with you.
Awesome. We'll see you next time. Bye-bye.
Warning, this podcast may change the way you think about business, entrepreneurship, and money forever. The Conquistador Podcast was created for dreamers, entrepreneurs, and leaders who want to conquer their future. To be an epic entrepreneur, you must adopt the right mental paradigms as well as master the art of selling, marketing, and finance.